We're challenging our good old friend Jeff Knapp.
What's this now?
We want to hear yours.
Oh, really?
This should be interesting, actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You have no idea. All right. So, you heard it yourself, folks. I've been challenged, and by the Meeple Society, no less. Now, this isn't the first time I've been challenged by Katy and Greg, and you can take that to mean it however you'd like. But the last time they challenged me last year, I recorded the footage, I planned a whole bunch of funny bits and crazy antics as I'm known for doing. I never got around to them, and then I deleted the original footage accidentally. So I'm gonna kind of cut to the chase here. This is the 2023 Midyear Game Reviewer, Content Creator, whatever, challenge. Now, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be games that I played this year or games that came out this year. I'm treating it like the former, and if I'm wrong, well, tough shit.
What is your favorite game?
My favorite game that I played in 2023, and I think, again, that's how I'm interpreting this. I'm assuming it's not my favorite 2023 game, which is good because I haven't really played that many 2023 games yet. And of course, not my overall favorite game because that's just a little too easy, isn't it? So I'm picking for this one Anno 1800. This is by Martin Wallace. It came out in 2020. I got this just a few months ago at a recent math trade here in the Richmond, Virginia area. Got to play it relatively soon and really just fell in love with the systems of this. This is kind of an abstract city builder. You are placing buildings out onto a tile and you can expand your play areas. You can build even more buildings. Kind of has a bit of a tech tree vibe, but not quite. You're not upgrading technologies. You're not getting to necessarily new things by abandoning old things. Just a unique twist on city building. It really got me into the video game of Anno 1800, which I have sunk dozens of hours into since then. And so yeah, this game just really clicked with me. Now, I've tried to play it solo. There's a homemade solo variant out on Board Game Geek. Didn't really land with me, just not that interesting of a system that he built into that, but I appreciate the effort that went into that idea. Anyways, definitely one of my favorite games that I played this year, if not my favorite overall for this year, Anno 1800 by Martin Wallace.
What is your most played game?
The game that I played most this year for sure is My City by Reiner Knizia. Another kind of a town building, city building game, this one with polyomino tiles. This one came out again a few years ago, but my wife and I picked this up. It sat on the shelf for a while. We got just a few plays into it last year, but this is a legacy game. You've got a grid that you're modifying throughout the game. You've got tiles that you're placing. You may be removing tiles, adding tiles, or somehow modifying those tiles. It's a very straightforward, very simple game. Definitely not something that I'm interested in replacing right away. The new My Island, I think, came out at Gen Con this year. Don't plan on getting that one. Didn't have a phenomenal experience with My City, but it was fine. Certainly a game that, we didn't have any problem playing 18 times this year. Now, I want to give an honorable mention to the other game, the second most played game this year. Again, not a 2023 title, but this is Exploding Kittens. My daughter got into this year. We've played it a ton of times at a local brewery with some friends, some colleagues that I work with, and we have had a ton of fun with this game. I think I have all the expansions, all the versions of this. It's just something that's so easy to get played. Now that my daughter is old enough that she can appreciate this and she can kind of play cutthroat against her parents, she has a ton of fun with this game. And so that is a game that we have certainly chosen to play that many times, and I have had a blast with Exploding Kittens.
What was your biggest surprise?
My biggest surprise of 2023. Now again, you can take this a couple different ways. The next game I'm going to talk about was certainly a surprise, but I'm assuming we're talking about in the positive here. So I want to talk about Queen by Midnight, published by Darrington Press and designed by Kyle Shire and Alexander Uboldi. This is a deck-building brawler game where players represent princesses who are trying to take control of the throne by the strike of midnight. And I love deck-building games, but I'm not a big fan of brawler games. I got to play this just recently at the Dice Tower Retreat down in Miami, Florida. And again, the game looks great. The art is fantastic. I love deck building, but knowing that this was just a take that fighting game, I did not go into this expecting to have a good time, and I did. Now I'm thinking it's because I won, and I won quite handily, but it was a really neat system, and I'm going to be looking for more opportunities to play this game. Definitely a surprise, Queen by Midnight.
What was your biggest disappointment?
I mean, my biggest disappointment for sure is Greg Bauerle.
I meant in a board game.
Oh, can we just edit that little bit right there?
No.
Okay, well, I guess that's just out there. Well, then I'm going to say that my biggest disappointment was Globetrotting by Road to Infamy Games. I reviewed this game recently out on the Dice Tower and gave it very, very low marks for being an incredibly fiddly experience. On the table, it looks fantastic. You have this plastic globe that sits in a stand, and you're moving it around in the stand trying to connect various cities as you plan air travel across the globe throughout the year. Conceptually a great idea, but super, super fiddly to play. Whenever you make a mistake, and you often will, at least I often did, you have to get up and get a wet napkin so you can erase the marks, and you gotta try and replace the marks that were already there, add the new marks where they're supposed to go. It was just such a cumbersome game to play. I can't even show you any of it because I got rid of my copy almost immediately. I was so excited for this game. It just looked fantastic. The Kickstarter campaign looked fantastic. I could not wait to get this played. It was one of just 2 games that I bought this year, or at least when it delivered, we played it that day. I could not wait to get this on the table, and just almost immediately regretted doing so. So my biggest disappointment, besides Greg, was Globetrotting by Road to Infamy Games.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much does Greg Bauerle suck?
Okay, I'm kidding. That wasn't really the question, but a solid 8.
What am I most anxious to get off my shelf of shame?
It's definitely got to be something over here. No, maybe it's gonna be this one over here.
20 minutes later.
All right, this was a pretty tough call. Obviously, as a content creator, as a game reviewer, I have quite a lot of games. I actually have a stack just off camera here of games I've come back from the Dice Tower retreat with, some that I collected from the Dice Tower studio. So I've got a lot of stuff on my need to play, want to play, can't wait to play shelf. But the one that I picked did come out this year, and I am very hopeful to get this to the table. This is Horseless Carriage by, what are they called? Splotter. That's right. This is a very, very heavy game, as most Splotter games are. This is about the automotive industry, which is something I'm very passionate about. And so I'm really looking forward to this. I've got at least one gaming buddy here in town that's really looking forward to this, and I'm thinking we should be able to get it to the table here pretty soon. So definitely my most anticipated game from my shelf of shame, Horseless Carriage by Splotter.
What game from more than 3 years ago did you discover this year?
This is one of those outside of the box questions that I really appreciate. A game that I played that is more than 3 years old this year is Santiago. I was invited to a game event from one of my local buddies. He had some out of town folks come in. He does this every year. He invited me to join him and his buddies for some gaming. Someone broke out Santiago. This is by Amigo, a game from 2003, so 20 years old. And as it was taught to me right off the get-go, I thought, I am not gonna like this. It has bidding for turn order. It then has another round of almost bribing a player. Whoever bids lowest on turn order gets to control where the water goes. I should back up. You're growing crops. You're putting these tiles out on the board, and they will grow crops if there is water coming to them. And so whoever bids the lowest gets to control where the water goes, and they will actually get bribed by players to put the water where they want it. And right away when I was taught that, I thought, okay, I'm gonna go for shooting the moon. I'm gonna just not bid on turn order as often as I can. I'm gonna get to control the water. I'm gonna get all the money coming my way so I can just kind of control the world. And it worked. That strategy came out brilliantly. I won this by a decent margin and was really surprised at just how much fun I had with it. Certainly not something that I would pick up, not something that I think most of my gaming group would really go for, but I did have a good time with this one. Santiago.
What anticipated releases still due this year are you most excited about?
This was another question I had to do a little bit of research on. I had to dig through my Kickstarter accounts and such to figure out what I still have coming. And when I remembered that this one is coming, it was just kind of an obvious shoo-in. I and many other folks have been waiting for 5 years to play Sweet Mess. Now, this was a Kickstarter campaign that was started by Big Kid Games. They made a complete royal mess of this campaign. Their creator, Jason, whatever his last name is, sucks at business management, and I'm really glad that this got picked up by Fantasia Games, is being finished by Yoma himself, and it is on boats heading to US land. So I am really, I'm optimistic about this. I have heard actually from Katy and Greg there at the Meeple Society. They got to play this at the Dice Tower Retreat. I did not realize that it was there in the library, or I likely would have joined, but they said they had a good time of it. Tom Vassell seemed to enjoy it, and so I'm really hoping that the long wait for this game has been worth it. Sweet Mess by Fantasia Games.
What's your favorite personal video that you posted to your channel?
Another good question. I enjoy these that do kind of focus on our role as content creators. Now, I haven't done a whole lot of videos on my own channel this year. As I mentioned, if you caught my Gen Con recap video, it was brought up to my attention many times that I've kind of abandoned this channel, Tabletop Toolbox, because I get to do a lot of content over on the Dice Tower. That being said, my favorite video that I made this year is on the Dice Tower. It was the Dragon Keepers review. This was by Vital and Katerina Lacerda. I did this video with my daughter Melanie and with some help from Chris and Wendy Yee at the Dice Tower, and I had a ton of fun scripting this video, working with Melanie on this video. I think it came together just brilliantly. It is a hilarious video to watch, even if you're not interested in the game itself, which the game is okay. I would certainly go and check that one out.
Who are you challenging next?
All right, before I pass this one on down the road, a big thanks to Katy and Greg Bauerle at the Meeple Society for challenging me yet again at one of these questionnaire videos. At least this one, I'm pretty sure, will eventually make it to YouTube. They've put up with an awful lot of my shenanigans this year, but it has been a lot of fun hanging out with them, and so thanks again to them. Now, I'm going to pass this challenge on to Knights Around the Table. This gentleman has a very good YouTube channel focusing on board games and some other stuff, as I've recently learned. I think one of my favorite videos of his is his How to Play of Underwater Cities. It is both to the point, very helpful, and also quite humorous. So certainly check out his stuff, and I'm hoping that he'll share some of his 2023 experiences with us out on his channel. I'm also hoping to do another one of these challenges myself, one of these questionnaires, maybe a little later on this year. I really want to get behind the curtain with some of our favorite content creators and find out a little bit more about what makes them tick, maybe what their equipment is, what their editing process is, what is their favorite or least favorite part of the whole process between playing games and analyzing games, filming, editing, and of course interacting with viewers. So hopefully I'll get something like that out a little later on. In the meantime, I'm Jeff. This is Tabletop Toolbox. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again soon. Cheers. From 2023. That's it for me, folks. I'm Jeff. This is Tabletop Toolbox. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Shit. Challenge me. I'll show you. I'm not even watching what I'm doing. I'm just hitting keys. That's how good I am. You know what this says? What do you think about that?
The end.